Hey everyone, how's it going? Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com. This is the post Extreme Rules review video. I am being joined by the PA Sensation, and as I mentioned on social media, we have a mystery third person, but that person is no longer a mystery. Let's go ahead and introduce the third person for today's video.
Oh my goodness.
Good old JM, Jeff Meacham, back again here on NoDQ.com.
Much like Terry Funk, you can never stay retired for too long. And Aaron, you pointed out to me this is going to be one of the more craptastic shows to make a return on. But I put that poll on Twitter. People miss me, so I figured, why not? Let's give the people what they want, as John Lord has. People power, give them what they want.
But Jeff, of all the pay-per-views to come back for, to quote Apu from The Simpsons, what were you thinking?
I don't know what I was thinking, except that I heard the love. I felt the love from the Twitterverse saying they wanted me back. I had a few people on social media outside of Twitter saying, Jeff, what's this retirement BS? And the NWO and the Horseman always said, what's causing all this? Well, I'm going to be the one causing all this from now on.
Add a little bit of positivity to this video that might turn out to be very negative.
It is so funny that everybody is saying, Jeff, we need your positive influence back. I'm like, I was the most negative guy on the panel for months. Like, why are they?
I know,
it's very confusing to me. Yeah, it's very confusing to me. But I'll try my best, guys.
We will try our best to be positive for this review video. I think they should change the name of this show to Extremely Confusing Rules, because I was confused.
I saw you post. Yeah, I saw you post that. I went, absolutely. Like, okay, is there one Extreme Rules oriented match that had any sort of sense to it?
I guess the main event.
We'll get into it. We'll get into my various rants on the lack of clarity on the rules.
Yeah, I'm rather curious to your opinion on your girls' tag match also, Greg. I'm curious what you think of that match. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about the kickoff match, which was Apollo Crews versus Kalisto. I actually thought, here we go, I'll be a little bit positive. I thought that this was better than most pre-show matches. I thought when it was all said and done, it was a pretty good match for a kickoff match. Kalisto picked up the win. There was miscommunication between Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil. So basically, O'Neil is more of a distraction for Crews than the other way around. So he's obviously the worst manager of all time. But that's the storyline. And Kalisto took advantage of the distraction and picked up the win. So this was fine. I thought that this was, like I said, pretty good for a kickoff match. Greg, what did you think?
See, I like this match too, and like I said, I'm not sure if it was the review video or Pop or TSE where I said that, Titus and Apollo Crews, they need a little bit more time on Raw. I think their act together, I think it works, even though it's a little shaky to start, but I think if you give them a chance, to move forward and not give them 2-3 minute filler segments when you're filling the show with half an hour of other crap, give them their time and they'll shine. And they both did, as did Kalisto. They're both very underrated talents. Crews is obviously ridiculously athletic, so I enjoyed this match. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, let me preface by saying that what I've said on social media to people, I have not watched a full episode of Raw up until last week since WrestleMania. So let me start by saying that right off the bat. Now, I assume the gimmick with Titus and Apollo is Titus is kind of recruit Apollo into his little circle of Titus Inc., whatever it's called, and Apollo's like, maybe not so much. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, it was reluctant at first, but Apollo seemed to go a little more along with it. He's not like a full-blown heel yet, though. So.
Well, yeah, because I can't see Apollo being a heel unless they full-on just flat-out do it. I like the match. I got a chance to go back and watch it in between segments on the show because I was on the road on the way home from picking Dylan up to see the pre-show. But it was good. I like that Kalisto won. I like that they're kind of planting a seed of doubt in Apollo with Titus's managerial skills, like you said, Aaron. So we'll see what happens going forward. I hope, as Greg said, that they get more time on TV than just 3 or 4 minute fillers. They need to give these guys the green lights, either full-blown heel Apollo or awesome feud between the two of them, one or the other.
I agree. I hope this leads to an Apollo heel turn. I think that would have the potential to work out nicely. Him and Titus as two serious badass heels could have some potential.
Well, think about everything that the Primetime Players was as a comedic act, but serious when they needed to be. it could be complete opposite. They could be complete serious badasses with the occasional hint of comedy here and there when necessary. It could be totally awesome.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we had the main pay-per-view kickoff with Dean Ambrose defending the IC title against The Miz. I enjoyed this match. I only had one issue, and my issue was I think that Maurice and Miz should have done that slap right off the get-go. To me, it made no sense for Miz to wrestle that long match and then do the slap. Why not just get that out of the way and go home and hit the showers? But other than that, I thought it was a very good match. Jeff, what were your thoughts?
I completely disagree, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The slap was in the moment of Miz realized that he thought he was not going to beat Dean Ambrose. It wasn't going to happen, so anything to get Ambrose disqualified right then and there. So slap me, babe, slap me. And that way it would plant a seed of doubt in the referee's mind that maybe Maurice had turned or was helping Dean or whatever. It was right then and there because Miz was desperate.
Yeah, I'm just like, why not just go for the cheap win, though, and hit the showers right away? Why even put in the effort? If you're Miz, you know.
Well, because then there's no real build to the desperation at that point in the match.
Oh, so I guess the idea is that Miz was confident he could beat Ambrose straight up, but then why do all these tactics during the match to try to get Ambrose to snap and be DQ'd? I don't know. It just did not make much sense to me.
He's a heel. He's supposed to be shady and cheap and all that crap. And
yeah,
like I said on, I think it was Pop that I said the heels really have the advantage of this kind of match because they always seem to pick up the win, regardless of which side of if you get disqualified, you lose the title stipulation they're on. And he tried everything in his power. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, no, I would say, Greg, you and I know better than anybody being involved like we were that the heels always have the advantage going in any kind of match because they're the ones carrying the match. They're the ones that are going to dictate how the match goes. And, apparently WWE, Vince, whoever wanted The Miz as a heel to do anything and everything to get Dean disqualified. That was the build of the match. That was the idea of the match. It wasn't so much that Miz was a better wrestler. It was Miz was a better cheater than Dean Ambrose.
Exactly. Like I said, the heels have the advantage in this kind of match.
Right.
Regardless of which side they're on, because Edge used it to his benefit, getting a distraction at SummerSlam, and Christian, of course, spit in the face of Orton and got Orton to snap and get himself disqualified. But it was a very good opener, and I'm glad that Miz is the Intercontinental Champion again.
As am I.
And
really elevate.
I'm glad that Miz won with the skull crushing finale rather than it actually be a DQ. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, and I loved right when Raw Talk started, before Corey even came off the set, went under with Renee Young, Miz comes marching in with the belt and goes, "So Renee, about that tweet, explain yourself." It was just right away, like Miz, like, yeah, I'm still the asshole, but I'm the champion, so it was great.
Yeah, Miz was always great. Anyways,
he's awesome.
He is awesome. So next up we had the tag team match, Sasha Banks and Rich Swann versus Alicia Fox and Noam Dar, and I screwed up on Twitter. This just goes to show how little I care about all this. I said that Sasha and Noam Dar won the match, and I got a lot of slack for that. I thought that this was a throwaway match. It felt like just your average Monday Night Raw match and nothing more. I really have very little to say about it. Greg, any thoughts?
Well, like I said in the chat, they probably put Swan in there instead of Alexander because it was Rich Swann's hometown of Baltimore, which Baltimore is like second below Boston on cities I don't care for. But like you said, it was a basic mixed tag match. It's something for Sasha to do for the time being, and nothing really overly much to say about it.
But here's to quote Jeff Meacham. Here's the thing. Why are they putting Sasha as a placeholder? Why not do what we all have been saying for weeks, months, even a year or two? Pull the trigger, have her drop Bayley like a bad habit, beat her definitively, and then have her go on to face whoever's the champion at the time.
Wait till we get to the women's title match, and then I'll tell you why they don't do
I was just going to say,
enough.
I think
Fair
it might
enough.
be too late to do that. I really think that we'll get to that in a second.
Aaron, because you mentioned that match on Twitter when you got trouble for naming pay-per-view wrong again. So the fact that Bayley's getting booed already is not good either. So
I did that too. Oh yeah, thanks for reminding everyone. Yeah, I used the wrong pay-per-view hashtag. Also, I used backlash at one
hashtag
point.
backlash.
Yeah, I'll tell you which hashtag I'm really looking forward to is WWE Balls. I like the fact that they're using the Jerry Lee Lewis song for the pay-per-view. That's awesome.
What's funny is they used GBOF, but I'm totally stealing yours. Because yours is funnier.
Whether it's official or not, I'm using the hashtag WWE Balls, so WWE can suck my balls.
That's right.
Oh, absolutely. Did you see the new logo? It kind of looks non-PG.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the women's title match, Alexa Bliss versus Bayley. I know both of you got some stuff to say about this one. I thought this match sucked. I thought it was terrible booking. It was basically a squash of Bayley. I actually was more bothered by this than the segment on Raw because I think that this was almost like character suicide for Bayley. So it starts off and Alexa tells Bayley to go up and grab the kendo stick, right? So Bayley, like a complete idiot, does it and falls for the trap. I mean, what a stupid baby face. It bugged me so much. And then Bayley did get the kendo stick eventually, maybe like 2 minutes into the match. She chases Alexa around. Alexa once again outsmarts her. Bayley hesitates using the kendo stick. Alexa gains control, uses the kendo stick, and then hits the DDT and retains the title. And that was it. That was the whole match. Greg, we'll start with you because I know you wanted to rant on this. Your thoughts on the match?
Just when I thought they couldn't book Bayley any worse, they do this.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Bayley's character was terrible before, and I said she needed an edge. It's like, she doesn't want to hurt anybody. Then don't be in the freaking business. What do you think this is?
Boom. It ain't ballet, sweetheart.
I mean, they are making Bayley out to be the world's dumbest human. And that's probably why the people are booing her, is because it's like, we don't want to watch you be all... It's like, this is even worse than Rocky Maivia. I compared Bayley to Rocky Maivia. I think Rocky Maivia is a freaking star. Like, 97 Dwayne Johnson is better than this. Like, it's stupid. It is so stupid. And I mean, I love Alexa Bliss. Don't get me wrong. Like, she does a great job with all her promos. She's good in the ring, and she makes for a good champion. She needs a new challenger. Bayley needs to stay the heck out of the title picture until she finds something to make herself relevant. Because she is the basement dweller of the Four Horsewomen right now. Because she is...
Damn.
As soon as she came to Raw, she has been absolutely abysmal. Yeah. Not her in-ring, but her character. It's been terrible. Jeff, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but...
I would love everybody that wished me to come back on Twitter. First of all, apology in advance for what I'm about to say about your precious Bayley. Second of all, everybody tag The Rock and It's Bayley WWE on Twitter for what we all have said here. Especially about the Rocky, because I was going to ask which one of you guys compared Bayley to Rocky on the pre-show, because I actually watched the pre-show. It was very well done, by the way, guys. All three of you guys did very well on that show.
Thank you.
It was awesome. But yeah, she's just so below where babyface white meat Maivia was 20 years ago. It's frustrating to watch somebody that I watched years ago. I think it was with JJ, not you, Aaron, when we went and saw her wrestle Lucky O'Shea at NWA Hollywood. She was still white meat good guy then even. She's never really evolved away from that. And it's frustrating because she's such a great in-ring worker. And the fact that Greg just called her the basement dweller of the Four Horsewomen, when we all thought it was going to be Becky after what happened in NXT between the four of them, the fact that Becky is now, the top of them on, well, Charlotte's there now, so she's not, but the fact that Bayley is way low on that totem pole and on the totem pole in general is so discouraging. I agree with Greg. Get her away from the scene. And since we're mentioning Sasha earlier in this process, since Sasha's still babyface, let's turn Sasha loose on Alexa here and see what the badass, what the boss can do against the champion.
Problem is, I don't even think Sasha's been a good baby face. I think they've dropped the ball with her too. I mean, I feel like Alexa's the best baby face in the company, and she's a heel. I mean, the fans love her because she's outsmarting the heels constantly, and she's the best promo by far. I think Sasha's promos have not been up to par. I think Alexa's the star of the division. Nobody can touch her.
And the problem is her top challenger to be, which is Nia Jax, is her best buddy. So how are they going to explain? Well, I guess Nia did say at the beginning that, once you're out of challengers, I'm next. So I guess I guess they could have Nia like, yeah, it's my turn now, and we'll see if she becomes the dominant monster heel world champion.
Yeah, maybe they could do a double turn. Maybe turn Bayley heel and turn Alexa babyface at some point.
I don't, dude. I don't see Bayley ever going. She's very much John Cena. They want to, but she never will.
Yeah, who knows? It's hard to say, but they got to do something with her.
I did think they were going to because you noticed her attire was there was a little bit darkness to her attire tonight. Like she came out, she was dressed a little bit darker in the fringe and darker, and I was like, maybe there's man didn't happen.
Yeah, but she didn't do anything with that.
She didn't. She totally didn't. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, next up we had the steel cage match, the Hardys versus Cesaro. Another match where the booking really bugged me, and I know some people tried to defend it. So basically, the idea was both guys had to escape the cage to win the match. That's always been the rule. But apparently, if you get back in the ring, you have the decision reversed or your escape is voided or whatever, which they did not make that part clear. So basically, Jeff Hardy got out of the cage, and then he came back in and did the big, which move is it? Somebody
moonsault, corkscrew, whatever the hell it was.
Whisper in the wind.
Whisper in the wind.
Whisper in the wind. Thank you. Wow.
He did whisper in the wind.
Time.
Now, because he hit that, all of a sudden, I guess he's back in the match, so that no longer counts that he escaped the cage. But the thing is, Jeff had escaped the cage, and for like a couple of minutes, you had Sheamus and Cesaro beating down Matt Hardy. So that made no sense. If that was the rule, then Jeff Hardy should have just waited until him and Matt could both get out of the cage at the same time. You know, I just don't get it. It made no sense to me. And Matt tried to get Jeff out of the cage, but Jeff was completely out. So Cesaro and Sheamus were able to get out first and win the match. Wasn't a fan of how this was booked at all. I guess it was done so the Hardys could lose the titles without looking weak, but wasn't a fan of it. Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree, because if you think about it, if it was booked properly, the Hardys won because Matt stepped out of the cage through the door before Cesaro hit the floor. So technically, the Hardys retained the titles. But as you said, Jeff nullified his escape by returning to the cage, which is the most ridiculous cage booking. I think this is even worse than when he went all the way to the top at Survivor Series and then dove on the Dudleys and lost the match. It's even worse than that, which was bad then, which was, my God, 16 years ago, if you can believe that mess. But yeah, it was even worse than that because he completely, once again, lost himself the championship with his brother. So I guarantee it's going to go one of two ways. Either Matt's going to, go off the deep end and they're both going to go crazy over losing the titles, or it's going to be the split they've been talking about, where Matt's going to be so frustrated that, he came back, he gave everything that he had with the delete and the broken Matt to be the Hardy boy again, and Jeff blew it.
It's possible. What do you think, Greg?
See, the booking of the finish bothered me also. I mean, what are they gonna do? You're in a battle royal now and you get thrown over the top rope, and then TNA style you go back over the top rope and you're back in. Like what? It makes no sense to me. Like that. I mean, granted that I don't think in the tag team steel cage match history this has ever come up, so maybe we can give them a pass on that. But it still makes no sense. If Jeff went out of the cage, he is officially out of the cage. He hit the floor. Matt needs to hit the floor next. I mean, if you want to give Cesaro the tag team titles, at least don't let Matt touch the floor first. I mean, this was a match, like, extremely confusing rules is very appropriate for tonight. And we'll get into that with the next match, too.
Oh, man.
Which I'm going to go off the deep end about.
All right, so let's. I think we've said our piece on the cage match. We'll see what happens if it's the beginning of a split between Matt and Jeff. Maybe Matt will go all crazy and go broken on the writing team or whoever was responsible for these finishes. But let's move on here. We have Neville versus Austin Aries for the Cruiserweight title. Now, I predicted Neville would retain. I figured WWE's just not going to put the title on Aries. And Aries posted something on Twitter saying he's going to reevaluate his career. I don't know what that's going to lead to. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes from here. You would figure that this would have been the night for him to win, but for some reason I wasn't expecting it to happen, and it did not happen here. So basically the storyline was it's a submission match, right? Despite it being a submission match, you have Austin Aries doing all these high-flying moves, which ultimately cost him the match. So again, stupid babyface. And you also had the referee counting out both of these guys on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they were telling the referee in the earpiece, but I think Vince was busy backstage. I'm just throwing it out there.
Maybe
Oh my
RVD
goodness.
was backstage with them and they were hanging out.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if Rob was back there making Vince distracted. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, so that was that was pretty stupid. And the thing is, you had Neville with the last chancery on the outside of the ring, and the referee's like, no, this does not count. Even though this pay-per-view's Extreme Rules, this does not count. And you would think, okay, well, if that's the case, then just keep the move on until Neville is completely passed out and incapacitated, get him back in the ring, put it back on him, and that's the end of the match. But no, he lets go of the hold right away when the referee tells him to at Extreme Rules. And then Austin Aries does this suicide dive, which the camera angle was terrible because it looked like there was nobody there to begin with. It looked like Aries just completely dove out onto nothing. Like, it didn't even... The camera angle did not even show Neville moving out of the way. It looked so bad. It made Aries look so stupid. And then, of course, Neville hit the red arrow onto the back of Aries and then put on the last chancery, and Aries just tapped out. I talked about this in the predictions. I would have liked to have seen maybe if Aries was going to lose, at least he just passes out. But then again, we saw what happened in the main event. We'll get to that in a few minutes, so maybe they're not going to do the same finish twice. But still, wasn't a big fan of this match, the way it was booked. The wrestling was fine, although doing all these high-flying spots in a submission match, I don't know. Greg, what were your thoughts?
See, the high-flying spots don't bother me because that's a Cruiserweight staple. What bothered me, among other things, submission match. How do you win? You win by submission. That's it. And they were trying to throw countouts and disqualifications in there. You cannot be counted out and you cannot be disqualified in a submission match. You can't win that way. So why even tease that could be a possibility? That being said, it's like you can't break... Why would you have them break up the last chancery on the outside? You can't get counted out. You can't get disqualified. You win a submission match. Crying out loud, DiBiase and Rhodes beat DX in a submission match with Shawn Michaels in the figure four around the ring post, and DiBiase had the $1 Million Dream on him around the ring post, and they won the submission match that way. Whoever's the agent for this, I want to slap them across the face. It's like you not watch any of your product to know that the rules of a submission match.
Can we not watch that match and maybe the best submission match in history between Bret Hart and Steve Austin, where people were bleeding and people were using ring bells and ring ropes and cables and all kinds of shit.
Brawling in the crowd.
Sorry. Brawling throughout the crowd. Yeah, like, why are we not using our own network to our advantage? Hello. Because
WWE thinks that wrestling fans are stupid and don't remember anything, and they can do whatever they want.
Well, you know what? Sorry, Greg. If they think we're so stupid, then don't create the network. Don't let us watch history and realize what's going on.
Well,
JR in that submission match, like Austin was choking Bret Hart with the cable, and he said that could be the submission. It's like, okay, well,
this was easily the most disappointing. Yeah, Greg, it's almost midnight back there for you. So, yeah. This is easily the most disappointing Cruiserweight match, I think, since the inception of the Cruiserweights last year.
It's pretty up there because this was a match you had some expectations for, and you were hoping for something better.
You've got a guy who left TNA and decent money for him back then to be a Cruiserweight in WWE. And you had a guy who was almost a forgotten afterthought as another white meat baby face that didn't do any wrong, and they completely not buried, because I hate the word buried at this point, it's really cliche, but they really destroyed both their credibility tonight and WWE's credibility in general for booking these guys. Every time I listen to Bischoff's podcast, every Wednesday he goes, not the same Cruiserweights, obviously, and that's great examples tonight.
Any other thoughts, Greg?
Do you want to hear my thoughts? I know it's on YouTube, but I don't think I have any other thoughts that wouldn't be censored.
So yeah, no, you don't have any other PG thoughts. So that's cool. I think we can get the point here that this was not what we were all hoping for, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens with Neville and Austin Aries moving forward. I'm sure Neville will be fine. Where does Aries go from here? That's the big question. So now we have the fatal five-way match, the main event to determine Brock Lesnar's opponent at hashtag WWE
The
Balls.
balls.
I don't care what anybody says. That is the hashtag that we are going to use, whether WWE likes it or not. They
That
picked
is the
the name.
official No DQ hashtag.
They picked the name for this pay-per-view, so we're picking the hashtag. Anyways, this was a good match. I mean, good main event. I like the big spots they did with Reigns doing the double spear to Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, and then Seth Rollins doing the frog splash. So you had a couple extreme moments in this match, which you would hope on a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules we would at least have something. So they did do some stuff in the main event. Of course, the frog splash to Wyatt through the announcer table. Although they do the announcer table spots on every pay-per-view, so it almost doesn't feel that big of a deal because it's done so often now on television. But, whatever. I thought it was well done. And it came down to Rollins and Reigns going at it. Balor got back in the ring. Balor hit the double foot stomp, but then Samoa Joe got back in, put on the how do you pronounce it?
Cochina clutch.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. He put on the submission hold, and Balor passed out. So Balor passed out. Samoa Joe won. Samoa Joe is the new number one contender. I'm happy for Joe. I'm happy he's getting the match with Brock. I definitely want to see it. However, I think it's too soon. I think that this match should have been done next year for WrestleMania. Build up Joe as a monster. The way I see it, he's just going to be a guy that puts over Brock Lesnar heading into SummerSlam. And I think that's a disappointment. I think it's going to be a wasted Joe. And you could have done this match with more build up for Joe and made Joe more of a credible force, and maybe actually have Joe beat Brock Lesnar, which I'm not expecting to happen. But Greg, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on the match?
Well, I do have to say that my wife picked Samoa Joe after her immediate pick, Finn Balor, so she got that. So
okay, cool.
Her.
Her?
I thought the match was decent. I know there was a couple of "this is awesome" chants, but I was a little disappointed, actually. In fact, I think this was the least extreme Rules pay-per-view of all time. I mean, there were very few weapon shots. I think Money in the Bank will have more.
It'll be more violent.
Weaponized. Yeah, it'll be more extreme than Extreme Rules.
This was un-Extreme Rules.
Yes, this.
Well,
extremely confusing Rules, like we said.
Yeah, well, before Jeff gets to his thoughts, when I was watching this match, I was thinking of Armageddon 2000 and how cool of a match that was, and when I'm thinking about other matches.
But Aaron, here's the difference in that, and I saw your tweet, so I'm going to totally bust you on it.
Okay, cool.
The Armageddon Hell in a Cell match, you had arguably 5 of the top guys in the history of wrestling, and Rikishi. And here you had guys who have, been built up great over the last few years, but they're not mega stars. They're not guys that can go on, fill in the TV show here, fill in the movie here, and be in the right, and feel like they're in place, like they feel like they belong. These 5 guys do not have any mainstream superstar, I can be on this TV show, this music video at any time appeal, whereas Austin did. Rock still does. Undertaker did even. Kurt Angle he's a legitimate athlete. You had, I believe Kane was in that match. Oh no, Kane or Big Show? Kane, right? Triple H. Thank you. Triple H is arguably one of the best, if not the best ever. Yeah. Rikishi was there because he was one of the top heels, and he belonged, and he had a great showing. He had the spot of that match, no question about that. These 5 guys are not the 5 guys that are going to be the Attitude Era megastars that those 6 were. That point. Second of all, I am begging anybody watching this video, anybody on this video, tweet Michael Cole how to pronounce coup de grace. Thank you. Okay.
Right.
It's not coup de grace, you overpaid, overhyped announcer. You
coup de grace. Mo, you're wrong.
You're wrong, Cole. You're wrong. And it's stuff like this that makes me wish I was watching Backlash with JR calling the UK match.
How do you pronounce it?
Coup de grace.
Okay. And I don't even know how to spell it, so I always just call it the double foot stomp.
And that's
G-R-A-S.
And that's even you admitting you don't know, Aaron, is better than Michael Cole pretending he knows.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Just like I don't even know how to pronounce Joe's hold and how to even spell it out, so I just call it the submission hold. That's how lazy I am when it comes to my journalistic abilities here. But whatever. I mean, I like when the names are kept simple and not too overly complicated. But
Yeah, and as far as the overall presentation, I liked that Joe won. Aaron, you and I have been watching Joe for a long time, indie shows, and we've been a fan of Joe throughout his Ring of Honor run, throughout his TNA run, but it is too soon. They should have really taken this and made it the slow, ever so slow burn to New Orleans and let Joe be the monster that battles the monster, that battles the beast.
I agree. I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome he's getting the spot.
Instead, they're going to hashtag cut off his hashtag WWE balls at the next pay-per-view and have him lose to Lesnar.
Right. What do you think, Greg?
Seeing Joe win, I think they're going to give Joe a little more of a chance. I don't think they're going to bury him at hashtag WWE balls. But I think that, I'm okay with it. Like I said before the pay-per-view started, I would be okay if Joe won. Because Joe and Lesnar, I think, could be a very good match, provided it's not Ambrose Lesnar from WrestleMania 32.
Oh yeah.
I would hope that's not going to be the case.
It's not going into UFC, so we don't have to worry about that. Maybe I'll put on a deep match.
Well, the difference is that if they let Joe be Samoa Joe, the badass killing machine, and give him a sporting chance against Brock, even at WWE hashtag WWE balls, even a throwaway show like that, if they give him a proper showing, maybe down the line they'll have a big rematch at SummerSlam, Survivor Series, or WrestleMania, and that way Joe will get the big moment.
I hope so. I mean, I
hope so too.
I hate to be negative on it because, like you said, it's awesome Joe's getting this opportunity. I'm very happy for him that he's getting this big match with Brock Lesnar. I just think it's too soon. So, I really hate to be negative on it. That's just how I see it.
But we know it's going to go to Reigns anyway, so.
Yeah, I guess it's just frustrating because we all know the end result here is most likely going to be Reigns beating Lesnar at WrestleMania. Maybe somebody will beat Lesnar temporarily, like maybe Strowman will win at SummerSlam and then have a short title reign, and then Lesnar wins it back.
Speaking of Lesnar WrestleMania, I have a question for you too because I put it on Twitter and I've got kind of a mixed response. Did they not recently try to adhere to either the IC of US champion being a 30-day rule title defense? Didn't that just happen recently?
I don't know.
They don't follow the rules of a simple match. What do you think they're going to follow title
Lesnar,
rules?
But by the time Lesnar gets into the ring to defend the championship, it'll be 15 weeks, not days, weeks since he won the title.
I think the unwritten rule is that it doesn't count for Lesnar.
I guess not, but you know what?
His last reign?
Well, yeah, and that one still bothers me. It bothers me that the world champion can't even make a TV appearance. Like it's ridiculous.
No, they just stopped trying. When Lesnar first came in, they would do the angles to write him off television, like he'd get suspended or he'd get fired, he'd quit, whatever. Now they just don't care. He just leaves television and comes back whenever he feels like it.
But what's such BS is that you have a guy like I'm going to go way back on the Wayback Machine here, Peabody and Sherman style here. Thank you. Shawn Michaels goes off TV because he's caught with steroids, and instead of writing him off and stripping him the title, he's like, no, I'm keeping the belt. And when I come back, let's do this storyline to make it worthwhile. So he had the belt. Lesnar has the belt sitting in his gym bag right now, going, I'm getting paid. Don't give a shit. Don't give a crap. I'm just going to get paid and have my red belt. And what we do. And then Joe is out here being a badass and killing everybody tonight to face the guy that doesn't even care.
I think the promos will be really good at least. I think Heyman and Joe will have some good promos back.
I think we're going to see some awesome work out of Paul Heyman and awesome work out. We're going to see finally Joe get a chance to talk like Samoa Joe used to talk in Ring of Honor and like he talked in XMB. Okay. But I don't know if we're going to have a great – I hope that it's going to be a back and forth, not I'm Brock Lesnar, so I'm going to win and whatever match.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, Greg, any final thoughts and then any plugs you want to get out?
I don't want to give any final thoughts on this pay-per-view. I've given enough.
Letter grade. Letter grade.
What's that?
Letter grade.
C.
Jeff, you're giving a C-. I agree. C- for me too. All right.
Borderline D+.
Wow, that's pretty harsh. Direct all hate mail to at what is your
meets1 at yahoo.com.
What is your Twitter handle now?
_ Jeff Meacham.
Okay,
same as it's been since
right.
I came back.
You've been gone. You've been gone for like 2 months, and I've
been gone for 3 months almost, and I'm already forgotten. It's okay.
Hey, you've made more appearances than Lesnar in the last 3 months. So
that is true. That is 100% fact right there. Jeff Meacham has been more active on here than Brock Lesnar.
I told everybody that I was going to take the Brock Lesnar schedule, and I proved even myself wrong. Damn it.
Jeff's a real trooper, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what? I missed everybody so much, and I actually watched YouTube on my TV, and I watched your guys' prediction show, and between that and all the feedback I got from my tweet, I'm like, you know what? I can't stay away. It's ridiculous. So this week, either Wednesday or Thursday, get your questions on Twitter, the return of hashtag Talk Wrestling Kids.
All right. Sounds good. Talk Wrestling coming back. Maybe we'll have you on a pop panel, too.
I would love to be on a pop panel. I'd love to be on TSE. I'll be like horse crap. I'll be everywhere.
You'll go from not being around to being around all the time, and then you'll piss off everybody again.
I will be the most oversaturated guy in the history of the internet wrestling community right here, baby.
You know what's funny?
In 2 weeks, everybody's gonna hate you again.
I know. When you were
here,
everyone was complaining, get rid of Jeff, and then when you left, like everyone's saying, bring back Jeff, David Payne sucks, and all these different comments.
I feel so bad for Dave because he went into my spot and like, oh, he's not Jeff. That's like, dude, Dave tries harder, I think, than any of us because he loves this stuff so much.
He's very passionate about it.
He's very passionate about our shows and about the business, and he loves any chance he can get to interact with the people. And the fact that people just crap on him is so disheartening.
He's got his fans, though. You know, if David left, everyone would say, bring back David. You know,
exactly.
I was gonna say you should have seen the pictures of him from the indie show after he got chopped to hell.
Oh, he got chopped down like a tree. That poor boy took a beating.
Yeah, he paid his dues, man.
He did.
Yep.
All right, guys. So follow Greg at PA Sensation, right, on Twitter. Trying to remember everybody's Twitter handles here, and then of course _ Jeff Meacham. I am Aaron Rift on Twitter, and of course NoDQ_DOTCOM is the Twitter account. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. This week should be a lot of fun. No DQ video. Looks like Talk Wrestling is back. I'm sure we'll have another sensational experience.
Buy the shirt.
Buy the shirt at ProWrestlingTees.com. And we will see you guys next time for more.